Hi, this is Cameron back again. I reintroduced myself in my last video and I showed some comics from my Lev Gleason collection and my DC collection in the video called Reintroducing Myself. If you want to catch that, then just look up under my videos of reintroducing myself. Previously, I made lots of videos about my vinyl collection, my vinyl finds, but now I'm going to concentrate on making videos about my comic finds as well as my CD finds and my CD collection, because those are the two things that I'm collecting actively right now. So today I'm going to talk about my small American Comics Group collection. It's just 8 comics. And American Comics Group was a company that lasted almost 20 years, from about 1948 until 1967. They didn't do superhero comics at least until about 1966. Rather, they specialized in having horror, science fiction, weird comics, as well as some humor and some romance. But the romance comics are very different than their others, and I'll talk about that when I get to one of the romance comics I have. So to start off, I have 4 books from the premier title, the most popular title of ACG, Americans Comics Group, and that is Adventures into the Unknown, which is known as the very first continuing title of horror comics. So pre-code. The ones I have are all post-comics code, and we'll start off with Adventures into the Unknown 85. It's from 1957. So the first story is called Room That Time Forgot. And artwork in this book are by Craig Flessel, who was well known as starting off in comics in the 1930s, for example, in some of, I believe, adventure comics from the 1930s, as well as Kurt Schaffenberger before he was doing Supergirl for DC and after he did Captain Marvel for Fawcett Comics. So here's some more of the story. I'll get a splash page of The Old Chateau. So these are very similar to the House of Mystery, House of Secrets comics of DC, which are My Greatest Adventure, those kinds of weird, semi horror, semi science fiction titles. And The Wandering Wagons. Next up, I have Adventures into the Unknown number 144, which is from 1963 and features artwork by Ogden Whitney and Chick Stone, who are stalwart artists for ACG starting in at least the late 50s and into their whole period up to 1967 when they stopped and ceased publication. So we have What a Picture It Would Make. Most of these stories are written by Richard Hughes. Coward. They have great letter columns in these ACGs, and they actively encourage criticism, they say, in order to make their books better. So that was The Cursed Sword. And Welcome to a Hero. So that was Adventures into the Unknown 144 from 1963. Next up, Adventures into the Unknown number 149 from 1964, Medal of Honor. This book has art by Kurt Schaffenberger and Chick Stone. So here's the lead-off story. Medicine Man's Curse. So they had two 12-page stories in that issue. Most of the books have 3 or 4 stories. Adventures in the Unknown, number 151 from 1964 as well. Make the Landing on Planet Xanadu. The story is called The Saving of Jehoshaphat Jones. And then the cover story, Make Your Landing on Planet Xanadu. And again, these were 2 longer stories, about 12 pages each. There is an ad for, no, that was the previous issue, sorry. Okay, my older book, Pre-Code, Forbidden Worlds, number 27 from 1954. And Forbidden Worlds lasted from 1951 until 1967. This has artwork by Sheldon Modoff and George Klein, both of whom did a lot of work for DC. And my understanding is that American Comics Group was started by the son-in-law or some relative of one of the owners of DC Comics, and were distributed by the same distributor as DC Comics, which was owned by the same owner. The owner of DC was the owner of the distributor. Now, I don't know why, but in the last several years, ACGs have become less common to find. And when they are found, they're in poor condition. That's the thing with the golden hair. The book is starting to split along the spine, so I'm going to be careful with this one. Death's Domain. Yeah, actually, the split is complete. Horror at the Mardi Gras. And that's that. I think I may have just completed the split now. It was pretty well 90% split, if not fully split. Anyway, I buy the books in fair and poor condition and no more than VG, very good, because I like them getting them cheap. And actually, I don't find them at all. So whenever I find an ACG for a cheap price, I buy them. My very favorite title, and probably the most popular title in ACG, is Herbie, humor strip. And this is the cover for number 13 from 1965. Mum's New Coat. So first story, Pirate Gold. Next story, and that's about Herbie's father wanting to become the head of his men's club, and Herbie helps him sell out fake pirate gold to raise money for some charity within town. And because of his success with the help of Herbie, then he becomes the new president of his club. Herbie does it through is successful in going into the past. He likes to travel to the past by going into his grandfather's clock. He can walk in the air. He has cinnamon flavored lollipops, which are the most powerful ones. He's irresistible to girls, including mermaids. And all of this is contrary to him being an ugly fat thing or some term like that, which his mom and dad always call him. So he kind of gets put down by his parents, and yet he's the hero, the unknown hero of lots of adventures. This is Mum's New Coat when he becomes a Mountie in order to get the skin of a penguin, which he gets for his mum because she feels she deserves a new fur coat. Okay, and that's Herbie number 13. Next up, as I was mentioning, a romantic comic, a romance comic from ACG. So ACG romance books, I have a reprint of them. They're unusual because they don't always resolve themselves. The girl always doesn't always marry the guy, or if she does, someone has to get put down and suffer a lot of embarrassment and rejection before they make up and get married, or simply they don't get married and it's a learning experience so that the boy or the girl learn how to be a better person for the next time. So this is different than the stereotype stories being put up by DC and Charlton and other books. So first one up, My Romantic Adventures, number 104 from 1959. And this first story is Taxi Cab Romance, where the girl falls in love with a guy who she thinks is really rich, and she wonders why when they fall in love he doesn't take her out to all these elaborate places and sophisticated places, and it turns out that he's a taxi cab driver too. She had rejected him because he wasn't really wealthy like she thought he was, but in the end they found their true romance and overcame those odds. Next up, Doctor of Dates. So the girl has a university project to find out what lines the men make to attract the young women, and then there's The Other Woman, a story about a theater production in which the shy girl finally wins over the romantic guy, the lead. And then the final book is Unknown Worlds, number 24 from 1963. And this has artwork by Ogden Whitney, and it's written by Richard Hughes. First story, The Builder of Destruction. Next up, The Strange Student, in which the very powerful roommate turns out to be an alien, benevolent alien. And finally, An Agent of the Unknown, in which the girl's dead uncle saves her from an evil ghost. So that's it for these stories. This is my small American Comics Group collection. Hope you enjoyed it. Please excuse the noise in the background. I think it's my wife or my son is making a lot of noise. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your comments and please subscribe. Have a good day. Bye-bye.